My name is Ginny, also known as 2/3 Lotus, everywhere on the internet. This clip is part of my series, The Poets of Twitch, where I analyze my viewers' writing live on stream. Nothing has been edited out, so you're seeing this exactly as streamed with all of the imperfections and tangents that come with being live. If you want to catch me live or want more information, check out the description. Otherwise, enjoy some excellent writing. Basically, the deal is line breaks are meant to be visual aspect of the poem. They can be read like full sentences. Okay. Beautiful. I will read it however it ends up being read by me, but I will take that into note. So here's a few things about the analysis that I do here on stream. Numero uno is this is my request to you. Don't tell me what you mean. I don't like explaining my poems to other people. I like giving them a chance to interpret themselves in terms of meaning and metaphor and all of these things. And I ask that you do the same for me. Definitely want you to go in blind. Perfect. Number 2, the sort of process. We will read this over a few times. This is just my general process for those who are wondering, like, maybe how they would want to approach analyzing poetry and having a good time. Can you read it boring? Like monotone? I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, maybe I can. What is your rationale for me reading it boring? That being said, read a few times. This is like step 1 for analysis, in my opinion. 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Just for enjoyment. It'll probably be 2 or 3 for this one. It's on the longer side for poems that I do here. Just for enjoyment, because the best part of poetry and art is that it is a beautiful, enjoyable thing where we can learn and appreciate it, right? So I'm not just gonna jump into, analyzing and critiquing and all these things without having read it, if that makes sense. Then I like to go through and just paint, like, in broad strokes some of my ideas, whether it's lines here and there that stick out to me, etc., etc. Nico, you're getting me back into performance mode, girl. You gotta practice. I don't like performing. I mean, actually, I really do. I'm just whining because I don't like leaving the house. I haven't read anywhere in a long time. Why did I say broad strokes? Broad strokes. And that's just gonna be me, like, going through underlining. I like to have a color scheme. So, like, blue is like questions. Purple is stand out, green is things I like, and red is things that I critique. Right? Just ideas. And then in my case, I'll usually go through and talk about some broader, like, lesson of literature and how we write and that kind of stuff. But this is also when you can go through and then maybe that's 4. And 3 is, like, to go and actually analyze and try to figure out, like, what is this thing saying? And then, the most important thing, 5 plus, depending on how many extra steps we added in here, is to read again. Because I want to appreciate your poem for it as a poem, not just an object of analysis. So thus, we read it again. This will likely be the deepest dive someone's done on it. I find that I do the deepest dives most people ever get on any of their poetry. And it's something that's been happening since I was in college. I met a friend who we sort of would hang out regularly and share poetry and just talk about, like, philosophy and stuff. We were in philosophy classes together, and it was a good time, we briefly dated, all that stuff. And I would go through and look at one of their poems for like 2 hours. And they told me, like, how do you do that? And I'm like, well, it's a poem, it's a reflection of you, I want to give it the full attention that I would another person. So that is you've got 45 minutes. We'll do this one in hopefully 45 minutes then. I'll try to go through on the quicker side. But if it goes over and you have to leave, then it's your call whether you want me to like stop or if I can continue for the rest of Twitch. Right? Not nothing. I will never call myself a victim. I am stunning among the uncertainty. A calmness in the midst of disturbance. All that happens around me that I can reach out and touch can join me in this serene existence. Try my best. Shine to undermine the gloom and doom that chases and haunts my friends, my family, my co-workers. They are more than they believe. More to me doesn't matter. They are more to themselves. They can be so much, and I want to help them see, walk them through the crisp morning air, touch the chipped fountains of their soul, and show that they are not damaged. Only weathered, because no stone lasts forever. Cracks in the shelf don't always shatter. Settle into the warm bathtub and let the soothing water into the creases and ease your eyes closed. Look into yourself and feel that warmth, for it is you, pure, clean, undeterred. I believe in you. I believe in them. I believe. Faith has nothing to do with divinity. It has to do with a promise. My promise that I have become a better man than I was because I stayed. Because impossible is not eternal. I bring myself to them and you as proof that the dark storm will pass. Clouds dissipate. Just wait for the sunlight. Fight. This is all just my own insight. Take it as you will. I will not tell you to stay for them, for everyone you know, and what it would do to us. That's an arcane, selfish, guilt-ridden message. Plus, it does nothing to draw attention to the turmoil inside the one person who deserves to be heard. You. It's our job to stand up, focus, and take notice of only you. What's buried in you. And to ask, what can we do? Because what you're feeling, what you're going through is true. It's okay to not be okay no matter what they say. And I'll sit here all day if you need me to, while you decide what to do. Hold your hand, embrace you for hours, or give you space. But I swear I won't try to erase this pain from your face. Please just know that you are stunning. And that's not nothing. Reading ahead a bit looks like a banger. This is a banger. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ear. I promise to give it back. Welcome, stylish fail. How are you? So, that's cool. And maybe you can see the rationale of reading it a few times now, because I stumbled over my words, I didn't quite have, like, the phrasing right on some sections, and that doesn't quite do it justice. So I'm going to read this one more time out loud to perform it again, I guess, and then I'll jump into some ideas. Good, just saw Crossing Istanbul during queer movie night. Banger. Awesome. Queer movie night sounds great. I don't know Crossing Istanbul, but sounds great. I will never call myself a victim. I am stunning among the uncertainty, a calmness in the midst of disturbance. All that happens around me that I can reach out and touch can join me in this serene existence. Try my best, shine to undermine the doom, the gloom and doom that chases and haunts my friends, my family, my co-workers. They are more than they believe. More to me doesn't matter. They are more to themselves. They can be so much, and I want to help them see, walk them through the crisp morning air, touch the chipped fountains of their soul, and show that they are not damaged, only weathered, because no stone lasts forever. Cracks in the self don't always shatter. Settle into the warm bathtub and let the soothing water into the creases, and ease your eyes closed. Look into yourself and feel that warmth, for it is you, pure, clean, and undeterred. I believe in you. I believe in them. I believe. Faith has nothing to do with divinity. It has to do with a promise, my promise that I have become a better man than I was. Because I stayed. Because impossible is not eternal. I bring myself to them and you as proof that the dark storm will pass. Clouds dissipate. Just wait for the sunlight. Fight. This is all just my own insight. Take it as you will. I will not tell you to stay for them, for everyone you know, and what it would do to us that's arcane, selfish, guilt-ridden message. Plus, it does nothing to draw attention to the turmoil inside the one person who deserves to be heard. You. It's our job to stand up, focus, and take notice of only you. What's buried in you, and ask what can we do, because what you're feeling is what you're going through is true. It's okay to not be okay, no matter what they say, and I'll sit here all day if you need me to, while you decide what to do. Hold your hand. Embrace you for hours or give you space, but I swear I won't try to erase this pain in your face. Please just know that you are stunning. And that's not nothing. Snaps indeed. So, not nothing. That's the title. Titles are important. Sometimes I forget about them. So this poem has like this really awesome core idea. Going throughout, right? And you establish it pretty early at the start. Like here. They are more than they believe. More to me doesn't matter. They are more to themselves. I like this line a lot. A lot of them. And we'll talk about why. And I'm just gonna go through, well, purple and green, right? So many colors. This is what poems that's the essay. This is what poems can look like by the end of me dealing with them. I'm just gonna go through and scribble some things and like think for a moment to myself, and then we will talk. I read this as fountains twice, didn't I? Foundations. It's extremely funny. Sometimes when you're in the moment, it's really hard to get the words right. They are not damaged, only weathered. Makes no sense. Yeah, I did say shelf in the first one. It was really bad. That confused me. But sometimes you just need to keep moving forward, right? I said foundations the first time and founts the second time. Yeah, that's how it be sometimes. So, for everyone you know and what it would do to us, it's an arcane selfish get rid of message plus just something rather than one person who deserves to be heard. Okay, you might have noticed when I was reading, I was really putting an emphasis on each pronoun throughout this. I was saying like, you, it's our job to stand up and take notice of only you, what's buried in you, and to ask what can we do because what you're feeling, what you're going through is true. It's okay to not be okay no matter what they say. And I thought that was, like, I like that happening here. Stunning. That's not nothing. Okay. Let's talk about my thoughts. Where do I want to start? It's always hard. I feel like I've been trying more lately to like think ahead and structure where I want to go with this. So what I think I'm going to talk about, I don't know. I'm going to start at the top and just talk about some things. So I put this with blue. Blue is my like, oh, maybe a question, maybe like somewhere question-y, sometimes it's even critique-y. I'll never call myself a victim. I'm stunning amongst the uncertainty, a calmness in the midst of disturbance. Right. For a slight bit of context, I wrote this during 10-minute timer challenge, a stream of consciousness, no edit. Yeah, it's excellent. Sometimes that's how I write. It seems cluttered, it's because it's still in the first gear. Okay, perfect. Then I know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about, theme, not really. I like sometimes to talk about in poems the thesis of a poem, which sounds sort of strange, right? We normally talk about poetry or thesis in terms of essays, right? However, I think we can, I was saying this at the very start of the analysis, use other forms of writing to inform our poetry. And this seems like about the furthest thing away from an essay, right? It's this free stream of consciousness. Like, this is definitely not an essay. But we can use the ideas of the essay, and maybe I'm still thinking about the essay that I read yesterday on stream, to inform our poem. And the thesis, anyone who's kind of vaguely familiar with writing, anyone who's probably had to write essays in like high school, has heard this word, maybe dreads it, maybe appreciates it. Basically, thesis is just your point or your main idea. Simple enough. Some poems don't have or don't need a thesis. Sometimes they're more abstract. Sometimes they talk about sweet poetic nothings floating in the air and the clouds. Sometimes you are talking about something. And I felt like, wow, I guess it really is a thesis that reads like a poem. Interesting. I had not considered that. So, what do I think the thesis is of this poem if I'm talking about this? This, pretty much. They are more than they believe. More to me doesn't matter. They are more to themselves. Right. You talk about throughout this poem. Let's get a color for thesis. Orange. Help them see. Walk them through. Show them. I believe in you, but again, you believe in them to be able to believe in themselves. Faith has nothing to do with divinity. My promise, better man than I was because I stayed. That's an interesting thing. You prove, right. Bring myself to them and you as proof. Now the storm will pass. It's an approach to helping others. To hold your hand, embrace you, give you space for hours, but not erase the pain. And I really appreciate this sentiment. The idea of we are not trying to fix other people in this poem. That's kind of what you're standing against. The idea of fixing someone else. And I think that's really excellent. You can support, you can care for, you can guide, you can lead through crisp morning air and all of these things, but we're never going to fix someone on our own. But of course we can tell them, you are stunning, and that's not nothing. Now the curious thing, great voice crack, I love being trans, is we start with, I will never call myself a victim. I am stunning amongst the uncertainty, a calmness in the midst of disturbance. All that happens around me I can reach out and touch and join me in this serene existence. And this really caught me as curious, because sort of the whole rest of the poem is this very altruistic, sort of non-self-focused poem. It's about others, how we help them. And you begin this poem by saying, I am stunning, I am not a victim, which is not a bad thing. It's just an interesting dissonance, perhaps, with the rest of the thesis. Now you do bring it back. You say that, I bring myself to them and you as proof that the storm will pass. Because, and that I think is referencing the start, in a sense, to say that since I have got through it, since I can be stunning amongst the uncertainty, since I have overcome that past of being a victim, this is why I feel I can see the world this way. Which is important context on our thesis of not fixing others. I've fixed myself and I want to show other people that they can fix themselves. And I guess I wonder, okay, here's my thoughts. Actually, I'll give you my thoughts after the ad break, because I think it's starting very soon. And you all should not watch the ads and stand up and walk away and such things. Take care of yourselves. Watching ads is bad for your soul. They might already be running. Yeah, so stand up, go to the bathroom, get a snack, drink water. That's going to be way better for you than watching them. Or did they already run? I'm so confused. Hold on, y'all. The ad manager sucks. It still says starting soon. But it's also way behind. We struggle. This is like the behind the scenes, like Twitch streamer thing. No. It says the ads are done. I hate this. Okay. I guess the ads didn't fire, and that's fine. I'm gifted a sub, so I see you. Yeah, you don't get ads. So if there are no ads happening, I guess I will keep talking. My computer is telling me there's an ad break, and my iPad is telling me the ads are done. It's very annoying. So, let's talk about this thesis then. I think it's excellent, and I have no intention to criticize your thesis, your ideas, because I don't think that's what critique is about. You have an idea. It is the way you see the world. The way you see the world. I'm not going to tell you that's wrong. I, in fact, really like your thesis, personally. Others might not like your thesis. That's kind of the point of a thesis. But here's the thing. I think, in a sense, if we're looking at this through the lens of an essay, wanting our thesis to be strong, I wonder about the decision to start your poem with, I will never call myself a victim. I am stunning among the uncertainty. It feels very self-referential, almost egotistical. Not saying you are, because this poem is clearly very heartfelt for others and altruistic. I already said that, right? But it makes me wonder, considering the point of the thesis, this sort of outward-focused altruism, whether we actually want to start our poem like this. It is important context, because I think you're probably saying that if you want to show others, in your opinion, if you want to show other people that things get better, part of that is that you have done so, and you are proof. And I think that's an important part of your idea, and it's, again, very good. But the question is, maybe, in my opinion, how can we work that idea in better? Because sometimes it feels like, let's divide this into sections. I will never call myself a victim. Try my best, all of this stuff. My friends, my family. So this is all very, like, self. They are more than they believe. More to me doesn't matter. So then this is like talking about them and how they can do better. And it's very outward focused. Them. And then back to, I believe in you, I believe. Here's some more of my beliefs. And then we go back to, this is still your beliefs probably. Yeah, you do say, this is all just my own insight, take it as you will. I mean, you say it, right? I will not tell you this, I will not tell you this. And then you go back to, you know, talking about them and how they can be better. It's basically how I read this. Trying to figure out what I'm trying to say. Like, I know there's something I'm trying to say there. I actually did remember very minor edits. Wound up cutting the line with the original prompt because it didn't fit anymore. It's what started my fingers running. I actually did remember I did very minor edits. I wound up cutting the line with the original prompt because it didn't fit the thoughts anymore. Started my fingers running. Yeah, if you have edits and this is not an accurate depiction of your poem, unless you're saying this had been edited slightly, then that's fine too, right? But here's my point. You kind of do this oscillation between, like, I am steady in my existence. You should be steady in your existence because of that. I am steady in my existence. I am proof. You should be steady because, not because, but I hope I can show you that you can help yourself too. It's really great. I agree with this thesis. But you don't necessarily tell us why. This might sound strange. Why is your success proof that others can have it? Why are you proof that dark storms will pass? Is the question that I guess I'm trying to ask. And I don't think you aren't. Or I don't think you don't have proof. I don't think there isn't proof. I think this is a good idea. But it also sometimes feels like you have this divide in the poem between you and, like, the subjects, the others. It's strange, but I almost have this undercurrent through some of, like, these lines of impersonality. There are lines that indicate a lot of connection with the other person. Hold your hand, embrace you for hours, give you space, but I swear I won't try to erase this pain in your face. Please just know you're stunning and that's not nothing. What do I mean by impersonal? Yeah. This is very hard for me. And I must say, I'm going sort of deep and very, very kind of critical of this one point because there's not that much to criticize. Like, it's a really excellent poem. Where I am connected to yet removed from who. Okay. Yes. I will call myself a victim. I'm stunning among the uncertainty, a calmness in the midst of disturbance, all that happens around me. Touch, you can join me in this serene existence. So, okay, let me do it this way. I'm reinterpreting your words. Yes. It's about the you subject of I. In this serene existence, I will never call myself a victim. I'm stunning amongst the uncertainty, a calmness in the midst of disturbance, all that happens around me, that I can reach out and touch and join me in this serene existence. So, I can reach out, you can join me, I can do these things. I can provide this opportunity. I can be so much. I want to help them see that they are not damage, only weathered. This might be what I might be trying to say, in a sense, that you are saying a lot here. You've probably heard as an author of show don't tell, and this isn't a rule I always like, but it's a rule I'm referencing here, because sometimes it sounds like you have a lot of these ideas in this poem. I want to guide them through. I want to show them that foundations are, like, stable, not cracked, that their soul is going to be okay. But in a sense, you don't really show me how you do that until almost like the very end of the poem, where you do it really well. I just want to hold your hand and embrace you for hours. this feels like one of the most powerful, one of the most important lines in the poem to me, because it's an example of something you are actually physically doing to demonstrate like what you mean. A lot of this is otherwise kind of abstract. I just want to show people that the clouds will dissipate. I will not tell you all of this stuff. It's very loose, I guess. Not very grounded in what's actually happening. I suppose just remember that there was a shift creation happening in real time. Yes, and they're definitely that's absolutely true. And I think that is probably, a lot of this probably happened, like you said, because this was like 10 minutes, there was a shift, your ideas changed, you went from one topic to another, right? And it also means that, yeah, if your poems are an expression of your thoughts, then putting the thoughts down. I've always thought of my poems as expression of thoughts and not of actions. Things I want, but maybe have not yet achieved. I see. For sure. For sure. And I guess in that regard, what I would say. We started by talking about how this is kind of a thesis. You're making this claim to help people, not fix them. It's you're breaking rule 1, don't tell you. It's fine. I think I'm doing a poor job of communicating what I'm thinking, and being like kind of harsh on the idea here, and not being very like good at, actually no, it's excellent. Okay. Maybe I'm just in my own head. We started by talking about the thesis, and how we have this bold claim. It's a bold claim. Don't fix people, just be there. Because a lot of people will try to fix people. Obviously, if you think about it for more than like 2 seconds, like, yeah, we shouldn't be trying to fix other people, bring them to a point that is, in my opinion, better, right? Drowning Devil, you're back. We're almost done with this analysis, and then we'll do yours. We skipped ahead. Heck, even I try to fix people. I try to fix people sometimes too, right? And also there are people in my life who are hurting, and I generally do think in my head, I don't want to try to fix them. And that's perfect, right? So, and there's a contradiction there. And contradictions are like beautiful and artistic. The fact that we can think a lot about trying to not fix people, and then sometimes we do, and sometimes we have this strong belief in our head that we shouldn't try to fix people, and then maybe we don't have like a strong example. But when we were talking about a thesis, right, I guess my deal is, you say a lot of times, this is how I want to treat you. This is what I want to do. And maybe I don't feel like you always argue why. And you don't need to literally like provide evidence in essay form. Evidence is something like, I want to hold your hand, embrace you for hours, or give you space, but I won't try to erase this pain. That's sort of evidence for your thesis here of why your approach is better than fixing people. Is what I'm trying to say. Is that I think in this case, showing those beautiful moments, those poetic moments of trying to help someone and be there and guide them without fixing them is super powerful and awesome. And maybe all it boils down to is me saying, based on my interpretation of this poem, that I want more of that. Because I think that's a really excellent line. When I read this is maybe like one of my favorite parts of the poem. Haha, totally fair. Yeah. And, of course, in your poetry, you said it yourself, you are very about the ideas and the things you think, and more of that than talking about specific action. Counter to that, I think that based on what you're trying to say, specific action would serve this poem extremely well. That's maybe my main point, right? And this poem's awesome. It's a great idea. Use some great poetry to describe it. I believe you, I believe in them. I believe faith has nothing to do with divinity, it has to do with a promise. These are really, really good lines. The whole foundations, mourning, this is great imagery. And the storm ending, and then this whole you section, which was very fun to read, very powerful, very pointed in those words, is awesome, right? And I guess it was just that underlying feeling about the poem that I wanted you to give me more concrete ideas. Does that make sense? Does that help? I feel that I definitely dug in really hard on this one idea, which is not always something that I do, but, we didn't have too much time with you. It does make sense. Okay. So, if I had to talk about an overall, lesson from this, it would be that you'd have liked to have the other one. I thought of sending them more action oriented. Oh, that's funny. But definitely more about me. I'm particularly proud of this one. Yeah, no, and this poem is awesome. To be very clear, you could probably tell when I was reading it, I like a lot of things. They are more than they believe. More to me doesn't matter. They are more to themselves. Like I said, that was the first thing I zeroed in on. A really powerful, awesome, poetic line and thesis. Right? So I just want to make sure you know that you should be proud of this poem. For sure. I just have... Here's my thing. I have a rule for myself and a rule for I saw you underlined because I stayed. Why did I do that? Yeah, I probably had a thought there. Faith has nothing to do with divinity. It has to do with a promise, my promise, that I have become a better man than I was because I stayed. Yeah, if you have any questions, I'll go through. This was just a blue question underline that if we had more time with yours, I would probably want to dig into from just the interpretation analyzing step, because this is just a personal anecdote, right? Faith has nothing to do with divinity. My promise that I have become a better man. That was because I stayed. This is you referencing something in your life that I don't know and understand. So blue is the question thing that I might have dug into more, right? You have a very simple answer. Yeah. And I think I could probably spend more time with this poem and figure it out. That's normally what I like to do with poetry on here. I like to lean more into looking at a line like this and saying, why, what does this mean? What is this talking about? Maybe I'm slightly rushed by the time, because I want to make sure that you're here for the whole thing, so it's kind of hard. You have about 20 minutes. Okay, then we can look at a few more things. Let's go back to analysis. My promise that I have become a better man than I was because I stayed. So, my first thought, because this is a point of you very strongly talking about my action, right? And the things about you that have made you better, the ways that you are sort of stable and able and now capable of considering others and helping others in this way. And that to me connects back to like the start of the poem. I will never call myself a victim. I am stunning amongst the uncertainty, a calmness in the midst of disturbance. All that happens around me, I can reach out to touch and join me. That feels very connected to your promise. You have this statement, I will never call myself a victim. You have all of these reasons that, like, you are able to weather the storms. And if we're talking, like, the only analysis I can do within a poem is going to be pointing at other parts of the poem and saying that maybe these connect, right? So, potentially, because I stayed, or I have made a promise to become a better man, I have done something. Maybe the promise is in itself, I will never call myself a victim, because this line is in itself a promise. In my opinion, never is pretty much a promise word in my vocabulary. I use it much more sparingly than others, though, because never means like never. Ever. That's a promise. And you talk about how faith has nothing to do with divinity, it has to do with these promises, the ways that we promise to ourselves and others, like this care. So, if I had to guess, this line is coming back to, I will never call myself a victim. A promise to oneself, also a promise to others, that things will get better, that things will be okay, and that, like, you know, you can do that. And in a sense, throughout this poem, you're also promising to these other people, kind of. Because you're telling them throughout, they can be so much. I want to help them see. It's not a spoken promise to another person, but you are saying, the cracks don't always shatter. I want to show them these things. I believe in you, right? I believe in you, I believe in them, I believe. And then you do talk about faith right after. So, it does connect very well in that regard. My promise of belief in you. I mean, I guess that's the... Oh wait, we were talking about why I stayed. It's kind of funny. So I think that idea of the promise is, like, very beautiful here. And then that I have become a better man than I was because I stayed. I mean, you clearly have experienced or gone through dark storms that have passed. You have gone through difficult things. You've had the foundations crumble down. You've seen yourself get weathered and broken, and then you've had the cracks heal, get put back together, at least somewhat. So, whether this is because I stayed alive, whether this is because I stayed in a relationship and trusted someone, even through turmoil, whether this is because I stayed, say, you know, it could be, if we're talking about difficult tribulations and trials, clean of a substance, because that could be a dark place for someone. I've read a lot of poems recently about substance abuse. My first thought is correct. Well, there you go. Because I stayed alive. So, and like, it's so good. It's so good. Like, there's awesome writing there. Clouds dissipate, just wait for the sunlight fight. This is all just my own insight, take it as you will. I put a red line here because, like, I don't like this line that much, if I'm being honest. And that's because you are in your writing saying, this is my ideas, which it's sort of implied. Like, anytime you are writing and putting your ideas on a page, of course it's just your own insight. And that's sort of is like, it feels, I don't know. Like, why is that necessary? That's like a random point of critique. I understand that you would say it to someone and be like, well, this is just what I think, but you can do as you will. But I think I will not tell you to stay for them, for everyone you know, and what it would do to us. That's an arcane, selfish, guilt-ridden message. Kind of implies this line already. Right? You know? I think I added it in to try and make it less, okay, I'm glad you weren't trying to make it more egotistical, less egotistical. Yeah, and I mean, that is sort of something I maybe said you were running into, this separation of you and the subject, and a point of ego. But yeah, I think that's fair. But you're right. In rereads, I think it always seems odd. Yeah, that's just a thought. Does nothing to draw attention to one side. One person who deserves to be heard. You. You. It's our job to stand up and focus and take notice of only you, what's buried in you, and to ask what can we do, because what you're doing, what you're going through is true. It's okay to not be okay no matter what they say. And I'll sit here all day. This whole section's a banger. I can't get over it. It's so good. But yeah, so I think if I had any like overall thoughts, it's just like really great writing. I have certain opinions on how one should, talk about this maybe thesis idea, but again, this applies to me too, huh? But that being said, it's really good. And it does show that, I do say this myself. You need to clean your own room before you go clean someone else's. Clean your own house, whatever, right? And I'm particularly proud of that ending drop. Yeah, I do like this a lot. It does tie back beautifully to the beginning. Stunning. And that's not nothing. It's great. But yeah, this idea that, you need to clean your own room. You have gotten better, and at this point, now you feel you can help others is absolutely, something I feel like I would write about as an idea. So that's just me, directly saying I praise your ideas, right? It's a cool poem. So, given all of that, if you have no other questions, no other things you were curious about, I want to thank you. You thanked me, but thank you. Thank you for sending in your thing. This does not happen. The Poets of Twitch does not happen without the poets of Twitch. Right? My analysis is proof that you got the message done right. Beautiful. So, thank you. And then, as long as you're still fine with this going on YouTube, this will go on YouTube. And if you, want to check that out, it's in, the Twitch, description and stuff and all that, or in my links. And other than that, I'm just going to read it one more time to, again, enjoy Not Nothing by AuthorBrianLou. And then that will be the extent of our little Twitch analysis here. How does that sound? Drink some water. The only question is, would I like to buy the ebook, or you like the book to preview free before I plug it on YouTube. So, I mean, based on your poetry, like, I think the ebook is probably great. And if you, like, I'm gonna plug it. It's your work. I trust you. You're fine. If you send me a book, I will be absolutely so grateful, and I'll read it because I'm sure your poetry is great. But I really have no hesitation of plugging the work of another writer. I will say that's probably the most TW poem. Yeah, I've written things that are so much more TW. I've not reviewed, I don't like calling it review, analyzed things that are so much more TW, so much more heavy, so much more explicit on this channel than this kind of stuff. So if it's along these lines or similar, then you're fine. It's the only one. Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna put the link in there because I like to include a little, like, here's where you can find the person and more of their work if there's someone who has that. So if you have other things that you, like, want in the YouTube description, just submit another form on the submit form that says, like, hey, yo, I mean, you said you don't have socials, but I trust you to write a review for it. I appreciate that. To me, write a review indicates quality, saying this is good, this is bad, and I'm the kind of person who will read anything, look at any art, and has a really hard time saying, like, this is bad. Most people I read it are like, wow, this is great. And then not much else. So yeah, it's funny. That's sort of the origin of all of this. Wow, this is great. Because if you remember what I was talking about earlier, people tell me when I read my poetry, wow, this is great. And in college, there was this happened. I did this for someone. I went through their poem, I dug into it deeply, deeply. I wanted to pull everything out because I love to do that with work. This is someone's work, this is someone's life, this is someone's thoughts, their ideas. Of course, I want to dig into it and say more than this is great. So I did that with someone, and then I shared some of my stuff, and they were able to spend about 5 minutes and say, like, yeah, I really like it. And they're like, and I'm like, well, why? And they're like, I don't really know. And I'm like, well, read it more, listen to the poem. And so to me, it's not about, wow, this is great, this is bad, I don't like this is quality, this is something, whatever. It's about hearing someone and what they're saying. Only thing I get is comments on word choice and things like that for the form. Yeah, and a lot of people will go like, oh, well, I like the word choice, I like these words, and that's good feedback. Admittedly, like, saying these things stick out to me is good. These are the parts I like. That's a start. Yeah, you want comments on word choices. But there's also so much more to a poem than the words that you chose and the form that you put it in. The surface level stuff. And I find that apparently it's kind of this rare thing to be able to go and look at someone's poem to this extent. So it's something I want to share as broadly as I can. Thus Twitch, right? I like the extent you went to look at it. Yeah, I mean, that's how it is for everyone. There's a whole playlist of YouTube videos of me doing this for different poems and talking about different big ideas, like the thesis, or like specificity, or like we draw like graphs sometimes. It's not on this one, but like graphs, and we were talking about repetition in this poem, and this was an essay where we talked more about structure and Charles Bukowski smoking a vape. So like that's kind of what it is. So I'm going to read it one more time, and that'll be that. Please purchase if you wish, or let me know if you want to preview it first. I'm tempted to just hand it over anyway because you're good at what you do. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, if it's $2.99, I might go in and buy it. It's your call. I'm not gonna ask you to give me something, you know? So, but yeah, I'm gonna read it one more time. And y'all might see, if you're new around here, reading this again is going to be so much better this time than the first time. Because now I have spent time with your poem. I know where maybe I can place emotion, where I can talk toward, and that's part of why I like to spend so much time with it. You'll see. Not nothing. I will never call myself a victim. I am stunning. Among the uncertainty, a calmness in the midst of disturbance, all that happens around me that I can reach out and touch, can join me in this serene existence. Try my best, shine, to undermine the gloom and doom that chases and haunts my friends, my family, my coworkers. They are more than they believe. More to me doesn't matter. They are more to themselves. They can be so much, and I want to help them see, walk them through the crisp morning air. Touch the chipped foundations of their soul, and show that they are not damaged, only weathered, because no stone lasts forever. Cracks in the self don't always shatter. Settle into the warm bathtub and let the soothing water into the creases, and ease your eyes closed. Look into yourself and feel that warmth. For it is you, pure, clean, and undeterred. I believe in you. I believe in them. I believe. Faith has nothing to do with divinity. It has to do with a promise. My promise that I have become a better man than I was. Because I stayed. Because impossible is not eternal. I bring myself to them and you as proof that the dark storm will pass, clouds dissipate. Just wait for the sunlight. Fight. This is all just my own insight. Take it as you will. I will not tell you to stay for them. For everyone you know. And what it would do to us. That's an arcane, selfish, guilt-ridden message. Plus, it does nothing to draw attention to the turmoil inside the one person who deserves to be heard. You. It's our job to stand up, focus, and take notice of only you. What's buried in you, and to ask, what can we do? Because what you're feeling, what you're going through is true. It's okay to not be okay, no matter what they say. And I'll sit here all day if you need me to, while you decide what to do. Hold your hand. Embrace you for hours, or give you space. But I swear, I won't try to erase this pain on your face. Please, just know that you are stunning. And that's not nothing. Not Nothing by AuthorBrianLou. Lou. Freaking awesome poem. That fade to your face? Yeah. Lou. Okay. I will ask anyone else in chat has anything to say about the piece. Tuesday's Lotus was excellent, but it's a group. Yeah, I appreciate that. I try to encourage y'all to also provide insight. I feel like it's happened every so often, but there's also not too many people in chat right now, so that's just how it is. Brian Lou, the author Brian Lou, thank you so much for submitting the work that you have thought through, created, spent time to I don't know another rhyme, honestly. I try to do stuff. At AuthorBrianLou, I'm gonna have to get back to you in a week. I wish I could stick around for the next person, but I have to head out soon. Cute Nico, I'm so sorry if it wasn't Nico who got skipped. It was Drowning Devil, but Drowning Devil was like gone for a while. I hope you're okay, but we will go to yours. Yes. Brian, if you join the Discord, that's where we hang out. It's where we make fun of Charles Bukowski incessantly. And join the island of the Lotus Eaters and you'll never leave. Yet another Discord. Yeah. Thank you for watching. I encourage you to check out the rest of the series, follow if you enjoyed, and stop by Twitch if you want to share your own work. See you there.